Hello and welcome to Hispanic Agenda, Washington's only bilingual news program. I'm Alejandro Negron. Thank you for watching. On the agenda today, this week, celebrity chef Jose Andres speaks to us about success and failure and on his efforts to inspire young local entrepreneurs. But first, the League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, the largest and oldest Hispanic organization in the United States, recently held its National Legislative Conference in which critical issues affecting Hispanic Americans were examined in a series of panel discussions. Cindy Benavides, Director of Civic Engagement and Community Mobilization for LULAC, joins us now to discuss what some of these issues were during the conference. Welcome, Cindy.
Alejandro, thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. So tell us about the conference. What, in your view, in LULAC's views, are the top issues facing Hispanic Americans?
So this is the 18th year that we have our legislative conference, and we bring together leaders from across the country, as well as more than 200 students, to come to this conference in DC to talk about these issues that are so important to the Latino community. And these issues include, Alejandro, it includes health, it includes education, it includes immigration. The students also had an opportunity to talk about other issues like the environment, LGBT issues and equality that are important to them.
Diversity issues, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Workforce development, diversity in the workforce, things that they're looking at, student loans, which is impacting so many of our students across the country as well.
And I know that they were talking about the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, the Affordable Care Act, as you just mentioned, the Higher Education Act, a lot of themes around education in these panels.
Absolutely. You know, it's because education impacts us so much. We had the pleasure of having top officials from the administration, Congress members come and speak with our members and talk about these issues. We had Secretary Burwell, HHS Secretary, come and speak about the issues around health, diabetes that's impacting our community, obesity that's so important to us as well. And in the area of education, really talking about closing the gap, how do we create an environment where our students, our children have access to higher education and even pre-K, right? We're not talking only about higher ed, but how can we start early? And then in terms of health, you know, how can we make sure that our community is enrolling into the Affordable Care Act? We know that deadline's coming up, and we want to make sure that our numbers are increasing because we truly need our community to be healthy.
And of course, this was a legislative summit. So basically what you guys were talking about is how to move these issues forward in the legislative, in this legislative session.
Yes, and the way that it's structured, Alejandro, is that, you know, the first few days, the students come together and they talk about these issues that are important to them. On the second day, we have basically workshops with these top officials to really break down these different arenas that are important to us and really explain to us what are the numbers, what is happening. And on the third day, we go up to Capitol Hill, and this year we're meeting with more than 120 members of Congress or their legislative aides to talk about these issues that are critical to us.
Let me ask you about immigration, which was also discussed. Do you think that the president's actions on immigration, the executive actions, have had any unintended consequences as groups such as yours tries to lobby Congress and Congress members to act on other issues important to the community?
You know, in terms of immigration, Alejandro, so keep in mind, we've been pushing immigration for almost decades, right? We haven't seen the change that we want to see. And we applaud President Obama for taking administrative action in terms of DACA and DAPA. And we hope that the Congress, due to their failure to enact change, will step up to the plate and actually do something about comprehensive immigration reform. We've been waiting for a long time. It's time for them to make that change.
Now, let's talk about DACA. Can folks start applying soon, February 18th, correct?
So
the expansion? So
the students can start applying for...
We're talking about the deferred action for childhood arrivals.
Correct. So the students can start applying, and this basically takes place over the next couple of months. If they have any questions, they can always check on the website to make sure that they have the most accurate information, but they can start planning now. They can make sure that they have the money that they need to pay the fee available. And there's different organizations, including LULAC, who are willing to help them fill out those applications so that they qualify. What
about DAPA? This is this new version, the Deferred Action for Parents of U.S. Citizens and Legal Residents. Can they start applying? Or
so
not yet?
In
We don't
terms
have
of
a date yet?
DAPA, we don't have the details yet. But what we can tell you is that what the community can do, however, is call Congress right now and tell them that they support this. Congress, at this moment, is trying to defund the Department of Homeland Security. And we
Correct.
want to make sure that, the 5 million individuals who may qualify for this actually have an opportunity to come out of the shadows, not be afraid, and contribute to our economy and our society.
So basically, that's your message moving forward. Activate the community to go ahead and contact, email, call members in Capitol Hill.
Absolutely, and get
them to
ready,
act.
right? Like,
Okay.
we want to make sure we're pushing for this to happen. Congress has not come up with a solution. This is a temporary fix. We want to make sure that at minimum they come out of their shadows and that they're ready to be able to go through the application process for
All right.
DAPA.
Cindy Benavides, thank you so much for your time. And congratulations. I know you're due soon,
In 9 days.
in 9 days. All right.
Thank you,
All right,
Alejandro.
thank you. All right, when we come back, celebrity chef Jose Andres on succeeding by being willing to fail. His inspiring message to local youth when Hispanic Agenda continues. Welcome back to Hispanic Agenda. I'm Alejandro Negron. Thank you for watching. Celebrity chef Jose Andres recently met with a group of young, aspiring entrepreneurs. Telemundo Washington's Claudia Curiel was there and spoke with the prominent Washingtonian. Claudia.
That's right. Well, few students have the opportunity to have an intimate conversation with an internationally renowned entrepreneur and learn from his experiences, but a group here in the district were able to do just that. A group of 20 high school students who dream of one day having their own business had the opportunity to hear the advice and experiences of internationally renowned culinary innovator, the Spanish chef, Jose Andres.
So for me, the good moment sometimes is when I fail, because that failure is showing me something. I'm learning something. That day usually is a good day because I know, hopefully, I will never fail again on the same issue.
Students like Devontae Howard, whose friends call Cook, were eager to hear the chef's story. He took advantage of the talk to ask questions and learn how he can reach the goals that he has.
I got accepted to Johnson Wales in Charlotte, so I plan to go in there in the fall. And then after that, I will work a little while, and then I will open my own catering company.
The students assisting today and listening to the advice of the famous chef are part of more than 300 students in 6 high schools in the district that through the program Build learn the steps to start their own business venture. This program works with high schools in under-resourced communities, and its goal is to keep students interested in school and helping them get into college by teaching them how to start a business.
Students start their own businesses and they manufacture products and they learn presentation skills and problem solving and grit and resilience.
Sometimes I feel you learn about numbers, years, moments in history, but I don't think we teach enough entrepreneurship. So I do believe that showing the business side will give every young kid opportunity to be whatever they want in the world. And this is very powerful.
The day ended with a lunch at one of Jose Andres' restaurants, where students were able to try his famous paella, which the noted chef says he learned to make from his dad, an experience that led him to dedicate his life to the culinary arts. At the end of the long day, students took with them a Winston Churchill quote that Jose Andres taught them.
Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm.
And the organization Build works in 5 cities in the country and helps 1,300 students. But the Washington, D.C. chapter is the largest, where more than 40 student business teams operate their enterprises. It was also chosen by the Catalog for Philanthropy as one of the best local charities in the greater Washington area for 2013-2014. Alejandro?
Thank you, Claudia. I'm taking notes, listening to Jose Andres. All right, when we come back, the last time you bought a car, did the dealer arrange your loan? Are you planning on buying a car soon? You don't want to miss the next item on the agenda when Hispanic Agenda continues. Welcome back to Hispanic Agenda. I'm Alejandro Negron. Now that we're enjoying low gas prices, more of us are buying cars. But before you do, you may want to consider what my next guest has to say. Araceli Parameño is the Director of Latino Affairs for the Center for Responsible Lending. Welcome to Hispanic Agenda. Araceli, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I didn't know that the Center for Responsible Lending had a Latino Affairs division. I was actually surprised, but welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's me, myself, and my multiple personalities.
I understand that. Now, I want to ask you, your research shows that when someone is buying a car, if they happen to be African American or Latino, they're going to pay more or higher interest rates than white folks.
So Alejandro,
even if their credit is the same, it's similar.
Right.
Why is that?
You have actually identified the key in the problem, right?
Well, I'm quoting your research, so you guys did.
So we assume as consumers, we assume that we can go shop around for a vehicle, that if we actually shop around for the car itself, that we can negotiate the price of the car, the products and services added to the deal, as well as the terms of the loan. And to our surprise, based on our findings in a report called Non-Negotiable, we discovered that if you were African American or Latino, that the opposite was true. That if you actually shopped around, that if you tried to actually negotiate the terms of your deal, that it actually worked against you. That
Really?
that you got worse terms, you got higher interest rates, higher price on the loan, and that they misled you. They led you to
why
believe.
is that?
Because the dealership, number one, is
I mean,
exempted.
are we predisposed to get worse deals than anybody else? I mean, what is?
It is
that?
unfortunate that we're actually paying a higher premium for the color of our skin and the name that we bear. What we've discovered is that the dealership has a discretion granted to them by financial institutions. Financial institutions usually buy this financing deals from the dealership, but the finance agent at the dealership is the one taking the data, is the one actually putting the data into the computer and supposedly shopping around. But they don't shop around on our behalf. They
Okay.
shop around on their behalf,
behalf.
because if they get the consumer to sign on to a deal that has worse terms, the difference or the spread becomes their compensation.
And this is, again, their compensation, the spread.
Exactly.
Now, what should people do to save money on a car loan and basically not be taken advantage of?
So they should do their homework, right? I think that number one, there's a lot of information available on the internet. They should shop around on the internet, find out what the vehicle that they're looking for, whether or not they want to buy into those options that are offered, and not be misled.
Those are the so-called add-ons,
The
right?
add-ons, exactly. So an extended warranty or anti-corrosion products. The vehicle already comes with this. And they'll try to
It's
sell
really
you.
insulting, some of the things that they try to
They
sell
try to
people.
sell you also insurance policies. You have to remember that if you're buying an insurance policy, you're actually financing it through the length of the loan. They're also
But is there anything that you recommend specifically before you choose a dealer or a financing institution? I don't know, reviews, online reviews. Is there any
Absolutely.
way
There is
to
plenty
get
of
a better
online-
sense of who to do business with?
There
Because
is-
not everyone is bad, of course.
There is plenty of online reviews, but I think that most importantly, when it comes to the loan itself, if you already have a relationship with a banking institution or a credit union, go there first.
Okay.
Because they know you. They have your accounts. Go there first and get a pre-approved loan for your vehicle. So when you go to the dealership, you already have the financing with you, and you don't have to deal with the finance guy in that office.
Hey, that sounds like great advice. Araceli Parameño, thank you so much for your time and for the advice. I wish we had time for more. I have a few other questions, but we have to go. I will definitely invite you back. Thank you. Araceli Parameño. When we come back, we're going to continue this financial advice theme we got going on today. Will you be one of the many leaving an average of $2,400 on the table when you file your tax returns this year? You don't want to miss our next segment. Coming up. Welcome back to Hispanic Agenda. I'm Alejandro Negron. For the past 40 years, the Earned Income Tax Credit has been considered by some as the most effective anti-poverty tool in the U.S. In 2014, in D.C. alone, 54,000 working poor families received the Earned Income Tax Credit. But my next guest says that many are leaving money on the table. Joseph Lightman Santa Cruz is the Director of External Relations for Capital Area Asset Builders. Joseph, welcome back. One of our best friends on Twitter, too.
Thank you, Alejandro. Appreciate it.
Thank you for taking pictures of our mug and tweeting it out. But let's talk about taxes and let's talk about saving people money. So who qualifies for this credit? First, let's start with that.
Sure. The Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC, as you were saying, has been considered one of the most effective anti-poverty tools. It is designated so that money paid in income taxes can go back to the pockets of low or moderate income working individuals or families. So there is a set of guidelines when it comes to income limits for 2014, and that determines what is the maximum credit that a working poor individual can receive. As an example, a family of four who earn income during the previous tax year that earned less than $53,000 may have access to a federal EITC of up to $6,200.
$6,200.
$6,200
Okay.
is what would either reduce any taxes owed or significantly increase a tax refund that this family might be eligible for.
And the average on our area, as you were telling me, is about $2,400 that people could end up getting in their tax returns. But many people are choosing not to. Why is that?
So you were correctly stating about 54,000 families in 2014 received the EITC. The average EITC at the federal level was $2,400. In Washington, D.C., there's also a local version of the EITC. So if you receive the federal EITC, very likely you would qualify for the D.C. version of the EITC, and that is 42% of the federal EITC.
Is D.C. alone in that, or do we have other jurisdictions
There are
in our
about
area?
15 jurisdictions throughout the country that have this.
Okay.
The state of Maryland also has an EITC, and Montgomery County also has a local EITC. So one of the things that we need to be doing is ensuring that all communities, primarily low and moderate income communities, are aware of the existence of this tax credit. Unfortunately, it is not something as simple as checking a box in order to qualify to get the credit.
For what I understand, it's very complex. Is one of the what critics say about it. That is a very complex system. That in order to file, you need a professional tax preparer to be able to do that.
Correct. Either a commercial tax preparer who knows how to claim the credit, or take advantage of a volunteer at one of the IRS approved VITA sites, Volunteers Income Tax Assistance. And that's one of the services that my organization, Capital Area Asset Builders, CAB, provides here in the District of Columbia. There are other great entities, Maryland Cash in Maryland and Virginia Cash in Virginia. So I would invite people to be visiting the websites of those three entities in order to determine where is the most convenient free tax preparation site.
All right. So one of the criticisms is that it's too complex, and I know there's talk about reforming net. Can you talk to us about that and what's being proposed?
So in 2015, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the creation of the EITC. It is very relevant to know that both Democratic and Republican presidents have praised the direct benefit that this has in low-income communities throughout the country. As with anything else, Alejandro, in the U.S. tax code, it is extremely challenging and complicated to have a simple way of determining whether we owe taxes or whether we are owed a tax refund. That is why we're always inviting people from the low and moderate income communities to take advantage of the free tax preparation services. The IRS certified volunteers are there to ensure that people get high quality tax preparation and also to ensure that people are receiving all the applicable tax credits that this working individual, working family should be claiming.
So there's a lot of information out there for folks if they want it. They just have to know where to look for it, I guess.
And this is one of the challenges. 54,000 families in D.C. alone last year received the credit. It's estimated that about 11,000 individuals who should have received the credit unfortunately did did not get it. And there are four primary reasons as to why this is happening. And unfortunately, this is quite the same situation in our region and throughout the U.S. People are simply unaware that this tax credit exists. The tax preparation is incorrectly being filed. 25% of EITC requests last year were rejected by the IRS.
We're talking about the Earned Income Tax Credit.
Correct. The third one is lack of information in non-English languages. So one of the things that we have been doing is promoting this outside of the scope of English. We're going into the Spanish-speaking community, into the Amharic-speaking community. And the last reason why people would not be getting the credit is primarily associated with how their tax forms are being filled out, either by themselves or a commercial tax preparer.
All right, we're talking to Joseph Lightman Santa Cruz from the Capital Area Asset Builders. Now that I have you here, many folks are preparing to present their taxes or file their taxes. Other advice that you can offer them?
Absolutely.
You know, still a lot of folks in our community go to the place where they're going to get the biggest return.
And what's so amazing is that the role that EITC plays on the amount of the refund that a standard moderate income family receives directly determines that refund. So it is not the magic of the tax preparer as to why you're getting $3,000, $5,000, or even more. It is simply because the Earned Income Tax Credit and other applicable tax credits are for the benefit of this working family. So answering your question, let's be sure that we can trust the tax preparer preparing the taxes. Let's ensure that this individual, this organization, this company is around after April 15th.
All right, Joseph Lightman Santa Cruz, thank you so much.
Thank you, Alejandro. Appreciate it.
All right, please check out our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. I'm Alejandro Negron. We'll see you next week here on Hispanic Agenda on News Channel 8.